Live from KSAT12, the news at noon starts right now.
And new this noon, an officer with the San Antonio Police Department finds himself on the other side of the law. This comes after his ex-girlfriend found a hidden camera in her home. That is according to the arrest paperwork.
32-year-old Andres Fuentes was arrested on 2 charges of felony invasive visual recording. The victim called the Bexar County Sheriff's deputies on Tuesday. She said she found that device. It was disguised as an electronic plug-in wall outlet extender. When deputies reviewed the SD card inside that device, they found footage of the victim and her underage daughter partially dressed.
SAPD says that Puente will immediately be placed on temporary unpaid leave pending the outcome of the criminal and administrative investigations.
Now to a story that is making national headlines. A man suspected of being a serial killer off the streets once again. He
was arrested in Austin, but he could be connected to up to 10 crimes, including a double murder here in San Antonio.
ABC's Maria Villarreal reveals his record of violent crimes spanning over decades and why police knew he was ready to kill again.
Overnight, U.S. Marshals confirming new details after an urgent manhunt for cold cases suspected serial killer Raul Meza.
28 returns to a Raul Meza Jr. at that address.
Meza's roommate, retired parole officer Jesse Fraga, found fatally stabbed in his home north of Austin more than a week ago. Investigators say while Meza was on the run, he called detectives and in a 14-minute conversation detailed how he allegedly murdered the 80-year-old. They say he also admitted to killing 65-year-old Gloria Lofton 4 years ago. DNA at her home was linked to Meza.
When the Pflugerville Police Department put this individual on the news as a person of interest, it drew some tips, and you go from one tip to the next.
A fugitive task force tracked down Meza on Memorial Day in North Austin. They say he was riding a bike and carrying a bag with zip ties, a flashlight, a gun, and multiple rounds inside.
Mr. Meza said he was ready and prepared to kill again, and he was looking forward to it.
The 62-year-old, already a convicted murderer with a record of violent crime. In 1982, he was sentenced to 30 years in prison for killing third grader Kendra Page, but served just 11 years. Kendra's older sister telling us,
It's been rough couple weeks, emotional.
Law enforcement is now investigating whether Meza could be connected to up to 10 different cold cases from this area, dating all the way back to 1996. The Page family fought for decades to try and keep him in prison, and when he was released, Tracy Page tells us she lived in fear knowing that he would move back to this area. She is devastated for the families that have lost loved ones. Mireya Villarreal, ABC News, Pflugerville, Texas.
According to an arrest affidavit from Austin Police, Meza also says he killed 2 people here in San Antonio. We are working to get you some more information on that alleged crime right now. We have more coming up tonight on the news at 5 and 6.
The defense for Mark Howerton putting an expert on the stand this morning to challenge the cause of death of Kaylee Mandatee. We have reached day 7 of the murder trial of Howerton. He's on trial for the 2017 murder of the Trinity University student and cheerleader. The expert talked about the effects of MDMA, or Molly, which Mandatee had in her system at the time of her death. Dr. Jason Wallach telling the jury that MDMA could increase the heart rate and blood pressure and could contribute to brain bleeding and bruising. In cross-examination, the state made Wallach emphasize that he wasn't a medical doctor and has never treated a person. The state could later put on a rebuttal witness to challenge any expert the defense puts on. Stay with KSAT.com as closing arguments could happen as early as this afternoon. Also, our Eric Hernandez will have the latest this afternoon as well.
Let's take a live look outside with live cam. There is sun out there. There are clouds out there, but there are also showers out there. We got the full gamut today, Mia.
We sure do. And we've got the humidity, which is one of the reasons why we've seen a couple of showers and passing sprinkles. We started off this morning with more of the cloud cover once again because those dew points are elevated, but we are starting to see that break up just a little bit more, leading way to some peaks of sunshine, which is going to be the theme as we head into this afternoon. Let's get you a look at the radar, though. The latest latest that we are looking at here across Bexar County, a lot of the more notable showers have really weakened over the past hour or so, but still a few passing sprinkles, especially on the northwest side near 410, and even a little downpour there on I-37 near 410 on the southeast side continues to work farther up to the north. As we head into this afternoon, I think for the most part, we're going to be pretty dry and quiet things down just a little bit more as well. We mentioned the dew points, elevated upper 60s, even some 70s out there, so you can definitely feel that stickiness when you do step outside this hour. We are in the 80s for the most part, 77 over at Kelly, but check out SA International already at 84 degrees. And because we are expecting more sunshine this afternoon, those temperatures are going to crank up. Upper 80s, even closing in on that 90-degree mark is expected here in San Antonio. And then later this evening, those thermometers will drop off through the mid to even low 80s for any of those Thursday evening plans. More of the same tomorrow. Pretty dry for the most part, but an isolated strong storm tomorrow night, possible out west. And then we monitor some isolated storm chances that work back in as we head into this weekend. So we'll get you a full look at that futurecast and all the details, what we're expecting in just a few, guys.
An Air Force major convicted in the death of his wife 4 months ago, already back in court today. Andre McDonald is appealing. In January, he was found not guilty of the murder of his wife, Andreen McDonald, but he was convicted on a charge of manslaughter in her death. Andreen McDonald's burned remains were found months after she disappeared in 2019. Her husband, Andre, was sentenced to 20 years in prison for manslaughter and another 5 years for tampering with evidence in the same case. Now he is appealing both the verdicts and the sentences, a process that could take up to a year or longer.
Over 2 years of construction along the St. Mary's Strip could wrap up in a matter of weeks. That's what Public Works officials are saying. And a trip down the St. Mary's Strip reveals construction is moving along. The project started back in March of 2021 and was supposed to be done last October. Now Public Works says it hopes to finish sometime this summer. The extended construction time due to adding lighting and landscaping to the project, as well as unforeseen challenges and weather delays. Public Works says the city has now added a contractor to hurry things up.
It's possible at the end of the day it may cost a little more because of the prices now is more expensive than price was 2 years ago.
But right now we don't know if it's gone or exceeded.
Not quite yet because we haven't really finalized the project yet.
And the director of Public Works says the city could charge the contractor damages, but that'll be determined once everything is said and done. In the meantime, area businesses are still struggling to hang on.
If you are between the ages of 16 and 24, you know somebody who's looking for a job, listen up. There will be a big job fair this afternoon at the AT&T Center. It's called Job Fest 2023. It's a free event that is focused on getting young people a job. Attendees will be able to speak with more than 100 local employers looking for part-time and full-time help. There will also be some internship opportunities for those looking to gain meaningful work experience in their desired career field. Again, Job Fest is going to be happening from 4 to 7 p.m. It's today at the AT&T Center.
Across San Antonio, school districts are wrapping up the final days of school, but there's one more lesson instructors are giving before summer break starts. Alyssa Cole takes us to the Gathering Place Elementary School, where an 8-year-old student is hosting an anti-bullying rally for her classmates.
Be a buddy and not a bully.
That's today's lesson at the Gathering Place School's amphitheater. Community leaders, musical artists, and leader of the pack, 8-year-old Ariane King is raising awareness about bullying by hosting a rally assembly at her school.
I should be a buddy and not a bully. I should stick up for my friends and stick up for myself when I'm getting bullied. I should have self-love. That's what I think they're taking away from this.
Students between kindergarten and 3rd grade are joining in on the interactive experience, answering questions, reading stories about friendship, and pledging to help promote a bully-free campus when they return in the fall. Principal Miss J. Jackson Carter says year-round students are rebuilding better emotional and social skills after a lack of interaction during the COVID-19 lockdown period.
You have different expectations than you do at home. And so what we were seeing is very natural consequences of the pandemic, of lockdown.
As faculty and staff everywhere nationwide work on ending bullying while rebuilding healthy engagement skills for children at schools, Principal Jay Jackson says hosting this rally today is the perfect way to wrap up the school year.
Going into next school year, starting the year with all of those practices in effective communication.
Alyssa Cole, KSAT12 News.
It is game one of the NBA Finals tonight, and history is going to be made. It'll be the first for Denver. Coming up.
UTSA students aiming high with their latest project, about 10,000 feet high. What they're launching in hopes of reaching beyond everyone else. UTSA students taking learning to new heights with an innovative project that tests their mechanical engineering skills. Tiffany Huerta shows us how these students are preparing to launch onto a national stage.
This has been a major undertaking for the organization. It has really helped us develop a lot of real-world engineering skills.
UTSA students, part of the Aeronautics and Rocket Club, are getting ready to compete in the world's largest intercollegiate rocket engineering competition.
We had to submit a 48-page technical document detailing everything about the rocket.
President of the club, Haven Russell, says judges will be looking at different aspects of this project.
Are we able to quickly set it up, take it down in the event that something goes wrong?
This is video of last year's rocket. And this year, students are hoping to win with this rocket that is built differently.
This vehicle here is going to have a hybrid propulsion system in it, and it's going to ideally fly up to 10,000 feet.
UTSA students also built this launch trailer for the rocket.
Its primary purpose is to allow the rocket to have a platform that it can launch off of and it be mobile as well.
Building these rockets can be expensive. Russell says this project cost over $10,000.
We're always looking for partnerships that we can have both with corporate and local sponsors to try and help us build out a lot of these resources and infrastructure so we can, bring rockets to San Antonio.
Students will be traveling to southern New Mexico for the competition later this month.
The students are learning things like project management and teamwork that's interdisciplinary, and these are the types of skills that aerospace engineers have to exercise in industry. And by participating in projects like this, students get a chance to practice being engineers.
Tiffany Huertas, KSAT12 News.
Remember when you were in school and the rockets were like a foot and a half, 2 foot tall, you just went out and kind of like
My brothers did all that, the little balsa wood rockets. Oh, yeah.
Now
with
look
a
at
little
these things.
Parachute on them.
Practically going to space on this stuff.
10,000 feet.
It's pretty cool. All right, look outside with live cam. We've got some peaks of sunshine out there. That's going to really help our temperatures warm this afternoon. The first day of meteorological summer. This June 1st, it's going to feel like it out there, and plus it's humid. A look at the aquifer level for today, down 1/10 of a foot, 647.7. 2 pollens out there. Molds continue to fall, so that's good, but they are still in the moderate category, and pigweed is low. We'll have all the details, especially on those isolated weekend rain chances after the break.
So what you're saying is, for those of us who don't understand it, is bad hair day? Is that what y'all are saying?
When you gotta, start from scratch first thing in the morning because your hair's not having this humidity.
Yep, I can attest to that. Most definitely. It is a humid day out there, and that's going to be the theme as we head into this afternoon. The humidity sticks with us, and of course, the warmth. We're approaching 90 degrees, so with enough moisture in the air, likely we'll feel just a few degrees above that. Because of all of that humidity, though, earlier this morning, we found some decent shower development in and around Bexar County. A couple pockets of sprinkles out there as well. This is a look at the radar right now. Coverage is coming down. We still do have a few small, very isolated showers pushing through San Antonio. One that's approaching the Clark High School area up there along the I-10 corridor. That's going to continue moving farther up to the northwest, likely moving closer to the rim area over the next 15 minutes. And then farther off to the southeast through our southeastern counties, specifically Karnes County, County, we've got a few additional showers that are moving near the Paveloxville and Sestahova area. That's going to move into Wilson County if it can all hold together. Generally, though, into this afternoon, we are going to quiet the radar down even more so, and we are expecting a bit more sunshine out there. We had the morning cloud cover. That's going to break up and scatter out just a little bit more, kind of like what we saw out there yesterday. And because of that, highs near 90 expected, even some low to mid 90s possible across our far southwestern counties. Into tomorrow, more of the same. Most of the day is dry, but an isolated storm is possible tomorrow evening and tomorrow night across our far western counties, well west of San Antonio. And then this weekend will introduce a few more rain chances, pretty isolated though, into the forecast. So here's a look at current conditions outside. 85 here in town. It is warm out there. 86 in Pleasanton, 87 already in Cotulla. Check out Rock Springs though, still holding on to the upper 70s, 77 degrees right now out there in Edwards County. Again, into this afternoon here in town, we will see more sun take back over. Around 89 is that forecast high currently around 5 p.m. And then if you're stepping out for any Thursday evening plans, 84 by 8 p.m. And then after the sun goes down, we'll start to see those temperatures fall into the 70s. 88 in Divine, 88 in Bandera, 85 up in Kerrville, 90 across our far southern counties. And we mentioned that, yes, we are expected to dry things out a bit more into this afternoon. We'll hold on to a 10% potential, especially farther southeast, for maybe 1 or 2 additional stray showers to develop. Most of us, though, are going to be pretty dry. And again, that's the case into tomorrow. 20% chance for your Saturday. And then going forward, because of a little change in our weather pattern, it's not going to be for everybody each day, but we'll call it a 30% potential for a few more isolated showers and storms Sunday and lasting into the beginning of next week. So here's the setup. We still have high pressure in control of our weather pattern right now. Low pressure system off to our east and another one off to our west. That actually is going to be the disturbance that tries to edge a little bit farther eastward into the weekend. That high pressure system breaks down, and then that low pressure looks to bring a few more disturbances and pieces of energy into our atmosphere. So you can see most of the day tomorrow is quiet, but by dinner time and just after, across our far western counties, a strong storm possible, very isolated though. Most of the day on Saturday is quiet, 20% chance for an isolated shower, and then 30% into Sunday. Overall, the messaging this weekend, it is not going to be a washout by any means. Do not cancel your plans, but definitely keep your eye on the radar because we may need to dodge a downpour or two, and that will be the theme as we head into next week as well, guys.
Great advice, Mia. Thank you.
Show off my cat-like quickness, dodging a storm.
I want to see that.
We now have a time for kickoff for the UTSA season opener, so get your calendars out. And we're going to tell you when you can see Victor Wembanyama for the first time in a Spurs uniform. We now have a time to go along with the date for the opening of the football season for the UTSA Roadrunners. They will open their 2023 season against Houston on September 2nd. Kickoff between the Roadrunners and Cougars set for 6 p.m. It is one of 3 UTSA games picked up for national television broadcasts. A reminder that this is UTSA's first year in the American Athletic Conference. Houston is moving up to the Big 12. What a great matchup that's going to be. So here's the broadcast schedule. UTSA taking on Houston. That is on FS1. Their second home game against Army on September 15th, and their home contest against USF are both on ESPN. How about that? And the date has been set for the 2023 edition of the Valero Alamo Bowl. Kickoff in the Dome, set for 7:15 on Thursday, December 28th. It marks the 10th time the Alamo Bowl will pit the best teams remaining from the Big 12 and Pac-12 after college football playoff selections against each other. Spurs fans have been able to see some highlights of the French phenom Victor Wembanyama while he is still playing in the championship round out there in Europe. And it won't be long before we get to see him in silver and black. The Spurs will officially pick Wemby at the NBA draft on June 22nd. And after that, they're going to take part in the California Classic in Sacramento. It's a smaller summer league that starts July 3rd ahead of the traditional summer league in Las Vegas. Wemby is currently still playing with the Metropolitans 92 in the LNB Pro A semifinals against Asvel. Wimmy's team is up 2-0, best of 5 series, and they'll look to close out that series tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. San Antonio time. In the meantime, here is a look at the Spurs Summer League schedule in Sacramento. They're going to play the Hornets on July 3rd at 7 o'clock. So that's a matchup that could feature the top 2 draft picks facing off each other. And then San Antonio is going to take on the Lakers at 7 o'clock on July 5th. The Vegas Summer League begins on July 7th. And tonight, the Denver Nuggets enter uncharted territory. The franchise hosts its first ever NBA game in the NBA Finals. They meet the Miami Heat for Game 1 in Colorado. ABC's Morgan Norwood has a preview of the matchup.
Blink. The Heat are going to the NBA Finals.
The stage for the 2023 NBA Finals is officially set. The Denver Nuggets, well rested and headed to their first finals in franchise history, taking on the Miami Heat, who blew a 3-0 series lead against the Boston Celtics, bouncing back to dominate Game 7 with a nearly 20-point victory.
People can relate to this team. Sometimes you have to suffer.
Regardless of the relatability, the win was revelatory, as Jimmy Butler predicted following their Game 7 loss to the Celtics last year that the Heat will return this year to finish the job.
We're going to be right back in the same situation, and we're going to get it done.
Well, he made good on that promise and took it one step further.
But nobody's satisfied. We haven't done anything. We don't play just to win the Eastern Conference. We play to win the whole thing.
The Denver Nuggets equally motivated, the team coming off a franchise first, sweeping the Los Angeles Lakers.
To bring home that first championship for this city, for our fans, for the Cronkies, for our players, and we know we have a hell of a fight in front of us.
Two-time MVP Nikola Jokic will look to lead his team to their first title. Miami, the last team to even make the finals as an 8th seed, looking to do the unthinkable, as no number 8 seed has ever hoisted the Larry O'Brien Championship trophy.
So many guys on our roster, they never shy away from the big moment. We love them for that. We want them to continue to be that.
This is going to be the hardest game of our life, and we know that, and we are prepared for that.
Morgan Norwood, ABC News, New York.
Game 1 tips off tonight, 7:30, and you can see it live right here on KSAT12.
Go Nuggets.
Yes. Oh, yes. Sure.
All right, some popular weight loss medications may lead to some unintended benefits. It could help those dealing with addiction. Why doctors think the drugs could have an effect on several addictive behaviors.
Downtown to Market Square. Whoa, that looks like fun. I'm expecting Mike to be in that thing going around somewhere.
That's pretty.
It's just some balloons going around, a big balloon. All right, what's that all about? We'll find out later on.
Those popular weight loss medications like Ozempic aren't just helping people shed pounds they don't want. Many patients say since taking these drugs, they have lost interest in addictive behaviors. Doctors say that patients most commonly report an effect on alcohol use. It may be because these drugs, in a class known as GLP-1s, have an effect not just on the gut, but also the brain. It's something that's now being studied at the National Institutes of Health, where researchers just published a paper showing that the active ingredient in Ozempic reduced what they call binge-like alcohol drinking in rodents.
We believe that at least one of the mechanisms how these drugs reduce alcohol drinking is by reducing the rewarding effects of alcohol, such as those related to a neurotransmitter in our brain, which is dopamine. So these medications are likely to make alcohol less rewarding.
And it's not just alcohol and nicotine. Patients have even reported behaviors like nail biting and online shopping. Clinical trials in humans are needed to prove this connection, and one is set to get underway at the University of North Carolina.
A new study has identified a link between sleep apnea and smaller brain volume, and this could increase the risk of dementia. The French study found that a part of the brain connected to memory shrank in people with severe sleep disordered breathing. That can include heavy snoring and sleep apnea. The brain area the study focused on, the part of the medial temporal lobe. These areas were smaller in people with severe sleep apnea who also had a specific kind of plaque, which is a sign of Alzheimer's disease. People without plaques did not have smaller brain volume. The brain clears away much of that buildup during sleep, slow wave sleep. The U.S. Drug Administration has approved an RSV vaccine for older adults. The agency approved Pfizer's vaccine for the highly contagious respiratory virus. The virus causes flu-like illness in people of all ages, but is more common in babies and young children. But it can also be dangerous for seniors. An estimated 10,000 to 13,000 adults at least 65 years or older die each year as a result of the infection. This is the second such vaccination approved to prevent the virus. The FDA approved the world's first RSV vaccine for older adults earlier this month. Vaccines could be available for seniors as early as this fall.
One missing person found, but 3 people still missing after part of a building collapsed in Iowa. And right now, their loved ones are still holding out hope. That includes Brandon Colvin Jr. He's been camped out in front of the building for days now, waiting for an update on his dad. He says if he could go inside and search for his father, he would. In the meantime, he's sleeping on the street and his life is on hold.
I haven't slept. I've been out here for 3 days. At night, all night, just waiting for anything. We have finals this week. I tried to go Tuesday to school, and as soon as I walked in, I just broke down and I was just crying. I couldn't do it. Being around all them people, my friends and stuff, just see me like that. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to go to the graduation.
The city has cited the owner of the building for failure to maintain safety. That means the owner could receive a $300 fine plus court fees. That's it. It's unclear when the building itself will be demolished.
Outside with live cam, cloudy, humid, mid-80s, and a little pop-up shower here and there. You know, I mean, I don't want to complain about the little bit of rain, but man, if you're going to rain, let's go.
Might as well. But
these little pop-ups, are they giving us much?
Not a whole lot, and they're pretty few and far between is the thing. But, I mean, everything that you just said kind of sounds like summer, doesn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
It does. June 1st, first day of meteorological summer, and it feels like it. And yes, because we've got that southeasterly flow, all of that humidity coming in from the Gulf, that's why we've managed to see a few of these pop-up showers throughout the first half of this Thursday. One of the more notable ones, again, right now, pretty limited in coverage, but it was the one that we were tracking near Clark High School a little bit ago. That's now crossed over 1604, probably rained a little bit at the rim in Fiesta, Texas. And now that's moving farther up to the north, up the I-10 corridor, headed for the Cross Mountain area. But yes, we still do have some clouds out there, a few peaks of sunshine. Temperatures warming pretty efficiently, though, regardless, in the mid-80s here in San Antonio, a dew point near 70. So there's that moisture that's in place. Into this afternoon, I do anticipate that the clouds we have on hand right now will continue to break up a bit more, very similar to what we saw yesterday, helping those temperatures crank up into the upper 80s and closing in on that 90-degree mark. For context, now today's high, June 1st, average high is about 91 degrees. So we're close to that out there this afternoon, and that's going to be the theme into tomorrow and even into the first half of the weekend. Along with that, increasing but still isolated rain chances. Tomorrow, mostly dry, a stray storm possible out west tomorrow evening, which could sit on the strong side, and then a 20 to then 30% potential throughout the weekend. We'll have another full look at that, plus a drought monitor update coming up in just a few.
Thank you, Mia. The House approved debt limit legislation. That's despite dozens of defections from hard right Republicans and progressive on the Democratic side. ABC's M. Nguyen reports all eyes now shift to the Senate, where they just have a couple of days to pass the House bill or risk a nation defaulting on its debts.
A major victory for both President Joe Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy as their bipartisan debt ceiling agreement sailed through the House with almost 100 more votes than were needed.
Yeas are 314, the nays are 117.
The legislation relied heavily on moderates in both parties, with 2/3 of House Republicans and more than 3/4 of Democrats voting in favor. The president watching the vote with his staff in a statement hailing the passage of the compromise bill as the responsibility of governing and thanking McCarthy for negotiating in good faith.
I think we did pretty dang good for the American public.
The deal allows the debt limit to be raised until January 2025 after the presidential election and rescinds billions of dollars in IRS and unused COVID-19 funding. But dozens of hardline conservative Republicans and progressive Democrats opposed the deal and voted against the bill.
I think Republicans need to own this vote. This was their deal.
It's not a victory. It's a surrender.
Those disagreements continuing in the Senate, where the bill now heads. With just 4 days until the projected June 5th deadline where the nation could run out of cash to pay its bills, some senators already declaring they're a no vote.
I'm going to vote no and I'm going to fight hard.
I cannot vote for this bill.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has already added the bill to the Senate calendar to speed up the process.
I hope that very soon we can finish the job of putting the default in our rearview mirror.
Schumer is aiming to pass this deal by today or tomorrow, but has already warned members to be prepared to stay through the weekend for votes, if necessary. M. Nguyen, ABC News, Washington.
A bear and a burglar seem to have similar tastes. The different approaches they took when trying to satisfy their sweet tooth come out.